The night was quiet in the small countryside town. The stars stretched wide above the fields, shining like silver dust on black glass. A man named Daniel Hayes sat on his porch, sipping his coffee, watching the darkness. His dog, Rex, ran in, circles chasing moths near the porch light. Daniel smiled. Rex was more than a pet, he was family. Loyal, strong, and clever, the dog had been with him for years, ever since Daniel rescued him as a pup. They lived alone now, just the two of them, in a wooden cabin at the edge of the forest. But that night, something felt strange. The air was heavy, almost electric. Daniel could feel it in his bones, though he couldn't explain why. The crickets had stopped singing. The owls were silent. Even the wind seemed to be holding its breath. Suddenly, Rex's ears perked. Up, he growled low, staring into the trees. "What is it, boy?" Daniel asked, standing. Without warning, Rex bolted into the forest, barking loudly. His shape disappeared quickly into the dark. "Rex!" Daniel shouted, chasing after him. But the dog was fast, too fast. Within seconds, only the echo of his barks remained, swallowed by the night. Daniel cursed under his breath and grabbed at the flashlight. The beam cut through the trees, but the forest seemed endless. He called Rex's name again and again. No answer. Then, far away, a strange sound rolled through the woods. It was not thunder. It was not wind. It was something else. A deep hum, like machinery hidden in the sky. Lights flickered between the branches. Green, blue, red, moving too smoothly to be lightning. The forest glowed for a moment, then went dark again. Daniel froze. His mind raced. He remembered stories, the kind people laughed at in town about. UFO sightings near these woods. Farmers claimed to see strange lights, cattle missing, shadows moving across the stars. Daniel never believed them. Until now. Rex. He whispered, fear creeping into his voice. He followed the direction of the lights, moving carefully through the undergrowth. His flashlight beam caught something unusual. On the ground got footprints, got Rex, single quotes, S-paw prints, fresh in the mud. But next, to them were others smaller, almost human-shaped, glowing faintly as if they carried their own light. Daniel bent closer. The prints pulsed once, like embers fading. His heart pounded. This isn't right. The forest grew darker the deeper he went. The hum returned, louder this time, vibrating in his chest. And silence. Complete. Silence. Daniel stopped walking. His flashlight flickered. The air felt heavy, pressing on him. He could hear his own heartbeat in his ears. Something was out there, watching him. Rex! Where are you, boy? His voice cracked, more desperate now. Suddenly, the bush rustled ahead. Daniel raised the flashlight. Two glowing eyes reflected back at him. For a moment, he felt relief. Rex! He shouted. The dog stepped out from the shadows, tail wagging, his tongue hanging as if nothing was wrong. Daniel nearly collapsed in relief, but then he saw her. A figure stepped out behind Rex, small, fragile, moving slowly, as if afraid. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. It was a girl, but not human. Her skin was pale with a faint glow, like moonlight, trapped under glass. Her hair shimmered silver, falling across her shoulders. Her eyes were large, bright, almost too bright for her face, like pools of liquid light. She wore strange, torn clothing that looked nothing like earth material. She looked frightened, but she did not run. Instead, she stood close to Rex, her hand resting gently on his head. The dog wagged his tail and leaned against her, protecting her. Daniel could not believe what he was seeing. No, this can't be real. The girl tilted her head, curious. She didn't speak, only made soft sounds gentle, almost musical. Rex barked once, not at her, but at Daniel, as if telling him, "Don't be afraid." Daniel's flashlight trembled in his hand. His mind raced. An alien, a real alien, standing in front of him. And his dog. His dog adored her. The girl stepped forward carefully, holding Rex's fur like a child clinging to safety. Her eyes never left Daniel. She looked weak, hurt. There were strange glowing marks on her arms, almost like burns. Daniel took a small step back. His instincts screamed at him to run. But something else held him in place. She didn't look dangerous. She looked lost, afraid, alone, for a long moment. No one moved. The forest was silent again, the air heavy with mystery. Finally, Daniel whispered, almost to himself, "What are you?" The alien girl blinked. She didn't answer. She only pressed closer to Rex, who wagged his tail again and barked happily, as if he had just found the best friend of his life. Daniel lowered the flashlight slowly, his fear mixing with wonder. His dog had returned, but he had not returned alone. He had brought an alien girl, and she seemed to trust him completely. Daniel stood frozen in the middle of the forest. His dog wagged his tail happily, but the alien girl beside him was silent. She stared at Daniel with wide, glowing eyes, as if studying him. The flashlight in Daniel's hand shook slightly. His mind told him to run back home, lock the doors, and never speak of this night. But his heart whispered something else. The girl looked vulnerable, not a monster, not a threat, just lost. Rex barked once and nudged her leg, like he was introducing her. Daniel took a careful step closer. "Who are you?" he whispered. The girl tilted her head, but she didn't answer. Instead, she raised her hand slowly. The motion was hesitant, like a child asking permission. She pointed at the glowing burns on her arm, and then at him, as if begging for help. Daniel's throat went dry. "You're hurt," he muttered. The girl didn't speak his language, but the look in her eyes was clear. Pain, fear, and a strange hope. Rex barked again, softer this time, tail wagging, urging Daniel forward. Daniel knelt down slowly, flashlight pointing at the ground. He didn't want to scare her. Up close, he saw the marks on her arms weren't normal wounds. They pulsed faintly, like they were alive, almost like chains of light. "What happened to you?" he asked, though he knew she couldn't answer. Girl touched the marks, then pointed toward the sky. Her glowing eyes filled with something Daniel recognized instantly: fear. And then she made a gesture. She held her wrists together, like someone bound in chains. Then she pulled them apart sharply, as if breaking free. Daniel's heart skipped a beat. She had escaped from something. Someone, but who? He stood slowly, his mind racing. Okay, let's get out of here," he whispered. He turned toward the cabin. The girl hesitated, staring into the dark woods. Her head tilted again. For the first time, Daniel heard her voice soft, musical, almost like wind chimes. It wasn't words he understood, but it sent a shiver through him. Rex barked once, then ran ahead, waiting for them to follow. The girl clutched the dog's fur and walked carefully, her bare feet silent on the forest floor. As they reached the cabin, Daniel kept looking over his shoulder. Something about the woods felt wrong. The strange hum he had heard earlier, it wasn't gone. It was quieter, but still there, like distant engines circling in the sky. Inside the cabin, Daniel quickly grabbed a blanket and wrapped it around her shoulders. She shivered, even though the night wasn't cold. He gave her water. She drank. Slowly, eyes never leaving his face, Daniel sat across from her, trying to steady his thoughts. "You're real," he muttered. "I don't know how, but you're real." The girl watched him closely, as if trying to understand. Then she reached out and touched Rex again. The dog wagged his tail, pressing closer to her. Daniel shook his head, almost laughing in disbelief. He likes you more than anyone else he's ever met. For a moment, the cabin felt almost peaceful. A man, a dog, and a strange girl who didn't belong to this world. But peace never lasts. A sudden flash of light burst through the window. Daniel jumped, pulling the flashlight back up. Outside, beams of red light scanned the forest floor, sweeping back and forth like searchlights. Daniel's heart pounded. He rushed to the window and peered out. They weren't helicopters. They weren't planes. They were machines. Small, floating, silent, each one glowing with red eyes. Drones. And they were searching. The girl gasped softly. She gripped Rex tighter, fear flooding her glowing eyes. Daniel looked at her, then back at the machines, and realization struck him. Like a hammer, they weren't just searching the forest. They were searching for her. Daniel cursed under his breath. He quickly turned off every light in the cabin and pulled the girl and Rex down to the floor. The red beams passed over the window, but didn't stop. Not yet. Damn it, Daniel whispered. They're hunting you. The girl's hands shook. She pressed her palms together, then pulled them apart again, her gesture for escape. Daniel knew now. She wasn't just an alien. She was a runaway, a fugitive. And the ones hunting her were still out there. For a long moment, the three of them stayed silent in the dark cabin, the sound of machines buzzing outside. Rex growled softly, low in his throat, ready to protect her. Daniel's heart raced. He had a choice. He could throw her outside, pretend none of this ever happened, and maybe survive. Or he could protect her. He looked at the girl again. She was staring at him with those glowing eyes, trusting him without a word. Daniel sighed. All right, he whispered. If they want you, they'll have to go through me. The girl tilted her head, almost as if she understood. Her lips curved faintly into the smallest smile. And then, outside, one of the red beams stopped. It pointed directly at the cabin. The machine had found them. Asterisk. The red beam stopped on the cabin window. For a split second, the whole room glowed like fire. Daniel froze. His breath caught in his throat. Outside, the machine hovered silently, its glowing red eye fixed on them. Another hum joined it, deeper and stronger. More drones were coming. Rex growled low, his body tense, ready to spring. The alien girl clutched his fur, her glowing eyes wide with fear. Daniel whispered, "Stay quiet." But it was too late. The drone outside made a sharp metallic sound, then crack. The window shattered as a beam of red light shot through the glass. It burned across the wooden wall, leaving a smoking scar. The girl screamed softly, covering her face. "Move!" Daniel shouted. He grabbed her arm and pulled her down as another beam ripped through the cabin. Rex barked furiously, teeth bared. Daniel dragged the girl toward the back door. He kicked it open, and they ran into the night, Rex bounding ahead. Behind them, a cabin lit up with flashing beams, wood cracking, glass exploding. The machines had found their target. And they were not stopping. The forest was alive with red lights now, beams slicing through the trees, searching, hunting. Daniel's heart pounded as he pulled the girl through the undergrowth. Branches tore at his arms, but he didn't stop. "Keep moving." He hissed. Rex barked once, leading the way deeper into the forest. The girl stumbled, but held tight, too. Daniel's sleeve. Her glowing eyes darted in every direction, terrified. The hum grew louder. More drones closing in. Suddenly, one dropped down in front of them, blocking the path. Its red eye locked on the girl. A strange voice crackled from it, metallic, harsh, like broken glass. Subject located. Retrieval in progress. Daniel didn't think. He grabbed a heavy branch from the ground and swung with all his strength. The branch smashed against the drone, sparks flying. It wobbled but didn't fall. Go! Daniel shouted. Rex leapt at the machine, teeth sinking into its metal frame. The drone spun wildly, firing beams into the trees. Daniel pulled the girl past it, sprinting deeper into the dark. More drones swarmed behind them. The forest lit up like a battlefield, red beams cutting through leaves, smoke rising from burning branches. Daniel's lungs burned. His legs screamed with pain, but he kept running. The girl clung to him, weak but refusing to let go. Finally, they reached a rocky slope. Daniel pushed her up first, then climbed after her. Rex scrambled behind, still snarling, his fur singed from the fight. At the top of the slope, they collapsed behind a fallen log, gasping for air. For a moment, there was silence. The hum faded, drifting further away. Maybe they had lost them. Daniel looked at the girl. She was trembling, clutching the blanket tighter around her shoulders. Her glowing marks flickered, dim and weak, as if she was fading. You're hurt worse than I thought, Daniel whispered. The girl touched his chest gently, right over his heart. Her eyes locked with his. It wasn't words, but Daniel felt what she meant. Help me. He swallowed hard. He couldn't leave her. Not now. But then Rex growled. His ears perked. Daniel froze. A shape moved between the trees below. Not a drone. Bigger. Taller. From the shadows. A figure stepped forward. It was not human. A towering creature, armored in black metal that shimmered with strange symbols. Its face was hidden by a mask, but its glowing red eyes cut through the dark. In its hand, it carried a weapon unlike anything Daniel had ever seen. The alien girl gasped, pulling back against the log. Her glowing eyes filled with terror. The creature's voice echoed through the forest, deep and mechanical. Subject identified. Return immediately. Daniel's blood ran cold. This wasn't just a search. This was a hunt. The girl shook her head wildly, clutching Rex tighter. She whispered something in her strange musical voice, pleading, desperate. The armored alien raised its weapon, pointing it directly at her. Daniel had no weapon, no plan, no chance, but he did have one thing: his choice. He stood in front of her, arms outstretched. You're not taking her. The creature paused. Its red eyes flickered, scanning him. Then its voice rumbled again. Human interference detected. Eliminate. Daniel's heart stopped. He had just made himself a target. The alien raised its weapon higher. A deadly hum filled the air. Rex barked furiously, standing at Daniel's side. The alien girl clutched his arm, her glowing marks suddenly sparking brighter, as if reacting to her fear. And then something strange happened. The air around them rippled. A faint blue light glowed from the girl's skin, spreading out like a shield. The alien's weapon fired, but the beam hit the blue light and shattered into sparks. The alien staggered back, shocked. Daniel turned to the girl in disbelief. Her body was glowing brighter now, her marks burning like fire. She was protecting them. The armored alien growled in frustration, its mask twisting in rage. This was no longer a simple hunt. This was war. The air shimmered blue as the alien's beam dissolved into sparks. For a heartbeat, silence ruled the forest. Daniel could hardly breathe. His eyes flicked from the armored hunter to the glowing shield around the girl. She was trembling, her skin lit by strange fiery lines. But she had stopped the attack. The alien growled, a metallic sound that rattled Daniel's chest. Its red eyes blazed brighter. Containment protocol engaged, it declared, raising its weapon again. Daniel didn't wait. Move, he shouted. He grabbed the girl's hand and pulled her to her feet. Rex barked and darted ahead, weaving through the trees. Another blast cracked through the air. The shield flickered but held. Daniel felt the shockwaves slam against his back as they ran down the rocky slope. Branches whipped his face, roots clawed at his boots, but he didn't stop. Every second the alien steps thundered behind them. Heavy and inhuman. The girl stumbled, nearly fallen, but Daniel caught her. Her glowing marks pulsed faintly now, weaker, as if the shield was draining her strength. "We can't keep this." "Up," he muttered through clenched teeth. Ahead, the forest broke into a rushing river. The moonlight glittered on the water surface, white foam swirling over jagged rocks. Daniel skidded to a halt at the riverbank. No way across. He gasped. The armored alien crashed through the trees behind them, weapon ready. The girl's glowing eyes widened. She lifted her hand toward the river, and suddenly the water surged higher, glowing faintly as if responding to her. Daniel stared, stunned. She wasn't just shielding them, she could command the world itself, but it drained her. She fell to her knees, gasping, her light flickering. The river swelled, splitting into violent waves that lashed against the rocks. For a moment, it formed a kind of bridge, unstable but possible. Daniel didn't think. He scooped her up into his arms and stepped onto the rushing water. Rex bounded beside him, barking wildly. Behind them, the alien raised its weapon again. The beam shot out, but the river surged upward like a wall, blocking the attack. The beam shattered against glowing water. Daniel nearly slipped, but pushed forward, his boots splashing. The girl clung to his chest weakly, her glowing eyes half closed. "Stay with me," he whispered. "Don't give up now." The water carried them across, crashing against the opposite bank. Daniel stumbled onto the mud and collapsed, holding her close. Rex shook himself, growling at the opposite shore. The alien hunter stood there, staring at them from across the river. It didn't follow. Instead, it raised its mask and spoke again, its voice deep and cold. "You cannot run, human. She belongs to us." Daniel tightened his grip around the girl, anger rising in his chest. "Not anymore," he spat back. The alien tilted its head, silent for a moment. Then its red eyes dimmed slightly, as if calculating. "Protect her, and you share her fate." And with that, it turned away, vanishing into the forest shadows. Daniel collapsed against the riverbank, his chest heaving. He looked down at the girl. Her marks had dimmed to a faint glow, her breathing shallow. She was alive, but barely. Rex pressed his nose against her arm, whining softly. Daniel brushed wet hair from her glowing face. "You're not safe here," he murmured. "But I'm not letting them take you." He carried her through the woods, searching for shelter. Hours passed, the forest silent except for their footsteps. Finally, he found an old hunter's shack. Half buried under vines. Inside, he laid her gently on a broken bed. Her eyes flickered open for a moment. She touched his chest again, weakly glowing, whispering in her strange, musical language. Daniel didn't understand the words, but he understood the meaning. "Thank you." He sighed and sat beside her, exhaustion weighing him down. Rex curled at the door, standing guard. But sleep didn't come, because through the cracks in the shack's roof, Daniel saw more lights moving in the sky. Not just drones this time. Bigger, stronger. Ships they were already calling reinforcements. And deep down, Daniel realized something terrifying. This girl wasn't just any runaway. She was important, valuable, maybe even dangerous. And by saving her, he had put himself and possibly the entire world in the crosshairs of something far greater than he could imagine. Asterisk. The night was quiet again. Too quiet. Daniel sat in the old shack, his back against the wall. The alien girl lay on the broken bed, her skin faintly glowing in the dark. Rex dozed by the door, but his ears twitched, always alert. Daniel's thoughts. Spun. The armored alien's words echoed in his head. She belongs to us. Why? He turned as the girl stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, weak but brighter than before. She looked at him and tried to sit up, but her body trembled. Easy, Daniel said softly. You're safe for now. She tilted her head, as if she didn't understand the words. But then her hand moved, glowing faintly, tracing symbols in the air. The blue light formed strange shapes, almost like writing, and faded. Daniel stared. You're trying to talk to me, he whispered. The girl closed her eyes, focusing. This time, the light shifted into clearer forms images. Daniel saw flashes in his mind. A massive city of shining towers under alien skies. A council of tall figures, their faces hidden, pointing at the girl. Chains of light wrapped around her arms. Then escape. Running through dark halls. Sirens. Beams of red light. Drones chasing. And finally, Rex, his dog, standing in the forest, barking at her until she followed. The images faded. Daniel sat frozen, his heart pounding. You escaped, he muttered. You were a prisoner. The girl nodded weakly. Daniel swallowed hard. And now they want you back. Her glowing marks pulsed once bright, defiant. She didn't want to go back. Daniel rubbed his face with both hands. This was bigger than he could handle. She wasn't just some lost alien. She was important. A fugitive. And if the ships above the forest were really here for her, then Earth itself might be in danger. The girl touched his arm again. This time, Daniel felt something stronger. Not just images, but feelings. Fear. Hope. Trust. She was trusting him. He met her glowing eyes. All right, he said quietly. Then I'll keep you safe, no matter what. Suddenly, Rex growled low at the door. Daniel froze. A shadow moved outside, then creak. The wooden door bent as something pushed against it. Daniel grabbed a broken metal pipe from the floor, his only weapon. Stay behind me, he whispered. The door burst open. But it wasn't the armored alien. It was something smaller. 2 drones, floating silently, their red eyes fixed on the girl. They fired beams instantly. Daniel swung the pipe, smashing one drone into the wall. Sparks exploded. The second one shot at him, grazing his shoulder. He grunted in pain but kept moving. Rex leapt, teeth sinking into the drone's frame. The machine spun wildly, trying to shake him off. Daniel slammed his pipe down again and again until the drone cracked apart in a shower of sparks. The shack fell silent except for heavy breathing. Smoke drifted from the broken machines. Daniel staggered back, clutching his shoulder. Babe? Found us again. The girl's marks glowed brighter. She looked at him with urgency, forming another image in the air, this time of a giant circular ship in orbit, bristling with weapons. Daniel's stomach sank. They're sending more. She nodded. For the first time, Daniel felt the full weight of it. This wasn't just about saving one strange girl. This was about stopping whatever was coming. He looked at her, then at Rex. His dog panted, tail wagging, as if ready for the fight. Daniel stood straighter, gripping the bloody pipe. Then we can't keep running. We need answers. We need a plan. The girl closed her eyes and whispered something in her soft, musical voice. Her marks glowed bright, wrapping around Daniel's arm like fireflies. Suddenly, knowledge rushed into his mind. Alien words, strange maps, images of stars and ships. He gasped. You're sharing your memory. Her eyes opened, glowing with fierce light. Daniel now understood. She wasn't just any prisoner. She was the heir to something greater. An alien royal, or maybe a weapon. A being created or chosen to lead. And the ones hunting her? They weren't just soldiers. They were an empire. Daniel's fists clenched. Earth had no idea what storm was about to hit. The girl touched his chest. Again. Looking into his eyes with determination, the meaning was clear. We fight together. Asterisk. The night sky burned with light. From the forest clearing, Daniel could see the massive alien ship above, its dark frame blotting out the stars. Blue beams cut through the trees, scanning the ground. The Empire was no longer hunting quietly. They were coming with full force. Beside him, the alien girl stood, her glowing marks brighter than ever. Her strength had returned, but Daniel saw the cost in her trembling hands. She wasn't built to keep fighting forever. Rex barked once, sharp and fierce, as if he sensed the danger surrounding them. Daniel gripped the metal pipe tighter. He knew it was useless against an army, but it was all he had. The girl touched his chest again, sending another wave of images through his mind. This time, he saw the ship's weak point, its core, glowing at the center. If destroyed, the ship would fall, but there was only one way to reach it. She would have to unleash all of her power. Daniel looked at her in shock. If you do that, it could kill you. Her glowing eyes softened, but she nodded. She knew. The forest shook as armored soldiers landed from drop pods, their heavy steps breaking the ground. Red lights pierced the darkness as they closed in. Daniel's heart pounded. We need to move now. The girl lifted her hand, and a glowing shield spread around them. Beams fired from the soldiers' weapons, but the blasts bent away. Still, every shot weakened her, her glow flickering. Daniel charged forward, pipe swinging. He slammed one soldier's weapon aside, striking its mask. Sparks flew. Rex leapt at another, teeth tearing into exposed wires. The girl raised both arms, sending waves of energy outward. The ground itself cracked, roots surging like living snakes to trap the soldiers. But each strike dimmed her light further. Keep going, Daniel shouted, dragging her toward a ridge that looked over the clearing. From there, he could see the massive alien ship, its core glowing faintly at its underside. The girl followed, her steps weak but determined. The soldiers regrouped, weapons humming louder. One raised a cannon, aiming directly at them. Daniel shoved the girl aside just as the blast tore into the ground. He rolled, ears ringing, dirt flying across his face. The girl screamed, her glow flaring uncontrollably. Light erupted from her, body surging upward like fire. For a moment, the soldiers froze. Blinded, Daniel grabbed her shoulders. You can't do this alone. Let me help. Her glowing eyes met his. For the first time, words formed on her lips in broken English. Together. Daniel's chest tightened. He nodded. Together. She pressed her glowing hands against his chest. Energy surged through him, almost unbearable, burning in his veins. He cried out, but didn't pull away. The world blurred. He saw the alien. Ship's core again, clear and sharp. The girl was guiding him, showing him how to strike, where to aim. Rex barked furiously, snapping at any soldier who came too close. Daniel raised the glowing pipe, now charged with her energy. His body trembled, his vision white-hot, but he ran forward to the ridge's edge. With a roar, he hurled the pipe. The weapon became a blazing spear of light, cutting through the air. It streaked upward, straight toward the alien ship's core. 4. A second. The world held its breath. Then dash impact. A thunderous explosion ripped the night sky apart. The ship's core burst in a wave of fire and blue sparks. The massive vessel shuddered, its lights flickering before collapsing in on itself. Shock waves slammed through the forest, knocking soldiers to the ground. Daniel shielded the girl with his body, holding her tight as fire rained down. When the light faded, silence fell. The alien ship was gone. Only falling embers lit the sky. Daniel gasped for breath. His body felt heavy, drained, but alive. He looked at the girl in his arms. Her glow was faint now, almost gone, but she was breathing. She opened her eyes slowly and gave a small, weak smile. Rex whined, pressing his head against her side. Daniel laughed softly, tears in his eyes. "We did it. You're safe." The girl touched his face, whispering in her alien voice. He didn't know the words, but he knew the meaning. "Thank you, God above." The stars slowly returned, shining bright and endless. For now, Earth was safe. But Daniel knew this wasn't the end. The Empire would learn what happened here. They would come again. He looked at the girl, her glowing marks pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. She wasn't just a stranger anymore. She was Family Dot, and with Rex by his side. Daniel whispered into the night, "Let them come. We'll be ready."